Welcome back to the Crow's Nest on Condo Online. I am your host, Addae G. Alright, and I'm here to talk about one of the first showcase plays for Liverpool Fringe, put on by Make It Right Productions. Alright, and in the studio today we have Sharon Colpman, who is the producer, and Elaine Stewart, who is the director of these plays. Good afternoon. Good
Afternoon.
evening. Yeah, how are you all today?
Oh, great. Good. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Alright, so tell me, Sharon, a little bit about Make It Right and the objective behind this showcase.
Well, Make It Right is just over a year old, and when we first started out, we wanted to give new writers a step up in their career. Most writers get a chance to do script in hand with their work, but they don't actually see it up properly in a proper theatre. So we wanted to try and give them that opportunity. So the Make It Right showcase started last year. We did Virago.
Yeah.
And it's 4 30-minute plays. This year we're doing one called Monstrous Minds. And we tried this year to encourage more female writers and more writers that don't usually get the opportunity to put things on in theatres. You know the LGBT plus and BAME and anybody else. That people from bad socio-economic backgrounds that have struggled to do things.
Oh, that's what. So, what was last year's showcase like? How did it come about?
We basically bumped into Sam Boyce that was running the Liverpool Fringe, and he said it's only the second year in Liverpool Fringe and we want some acts. So we sat down and as a committee at the time and decided we'd put something on. So we thought, well, we may as well put on a competition because that's the easiest way to get people to come to us. And so we did 4 plays about strong women. One of them was Kitty, Queen of the Wash House, which is now touring.
Yes.
And also we had a writer called David Howarth who's been working with the Royal Exchange in Manchester. So the other 2 writers are also doing really well in Manchester. So people have gone on from last year to do quite well. So the writers we have are the stars of the future. Quite possibly.
Yes. Well, that's great. Well, let me move over to Elaine a bit. You are the director of these 4 plays.
I am.
Yeah. As I said that, you just look scared, like, oh my God, I am. Tell me what your experience was.
Well, it's 4 plays, so usually you just direct one. So what I've tried to do with the 4 plays, I've tried to tie them all in as a production as a whole. So quite a lot of them are they comment on social commentaries and about society and things like that. So I've tried to put it like a whole production together. It is a bit scary, I suppose, having to direct 4 separate plays. So you think 4 separate writers and what their expectations could be of me. But I've always liked a challenge, so up for this definitely.
Well, that had to be a challenge because most directors pull their hair out directing one play.
Yeah.
Directing one set of actors, directing one script. How did you manage that? How do you split up your time?
I've been quite lucky because what I've done is I've selected 5 actors, so we've got a core group, an ensemble of actors, and a multi-role between 4 plays. So it's made it a lot easier for me to get rehearsal space because I can plan it around the 5 people rather than half a dozen people or 7 people or whatever. It hasn't been too difficult actually because the actors that I've got, they're really good quality actors. They're just as enthusiastic as me.
Yeah.
They want it to work. They want it to be a big success, and that's helped me a lot. That's why I'm not grey. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. So you found working with this core group of actors working for you. It works for you then?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're very good. I've worked with a couple of them before.
Yeah.
They're very reliable.
You can plug their names, we'd love to know who they are.
We've got Geraldine Maloney Judge, Joe Matthew Morris, Rachel Kearney, Liam Murphy and Lou Freeburn.
Okay.
They're very good.
Aren't you afraid? I would be afraid. Aren't you afraid that, okay, these actors are in my 4 shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid that they read off lines from another show into the one? I'm only saying because I do the same thing. All right. And if I have 2 scripts in front of me, I'll have to learn one script first, and to go on because you could be in one place and talking about something else.
No, they're very good. I trust them completely. I really trust them. We've got a good working relationship. Everyone works well together and trust each other and support each other, which is important when you're on stage, I think. So.
Okay, that's great. So, Sharon, back to you. How do you feel that these plays fit into Liverpool Fringe?
Well, Liverpool Fringe is a great big melting pot of all sorts of things. So I think you can bring anything to Liverpool Fringe. And I think having a showcase of new writing, so there's 4 different plays but on a theme, sort of shows people, what they can move on to next if they're just starting out in writing. And I think Fringe is a good place for the new writers as well to experiment with their work and to be brave and bold and try new stuff. So I'm hoping that we'll get really big audiences and that everybody will enjoy it and be inspired to write something for next year's competition.
Okay, well then this question for both of you, because I know that there were 2 events before that showcased a little bit of the work. What was the feedback?
There wasn't so much huge feedback from the events that we've done. We've done just one preview evening.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that the two lads, it was Joe and Liam.
Yeah.
Really showed up that it was going to be a good night, and that lots of people said, "Oh, I'm going to get tickets now. I'm going to get tickets now."
Okay, so I would assume that if we want to see these shows, we got to get tickets as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because once the Fringe brochures go out, I think that they'll everything will sell out really quickly.
Okay.
There's lots of good stuff on. I mean, it's heartwarming for me because last year when I came to Liverpool, I was thinking, oh, the Fringe is not, there's not a lot there, but in this last year it seems to have built hugely, and it's really heartwarming, and the quality of the stuff that's coming on is just fantastic. So for Liverpool Fringe Festival, it's fantastically encouraging, and the team now is getting bigger for the Fringe Festival. So each year we'll build on the last, but each year we're going to make sure that Make It Right's Festival of New Writing is going to be there. And we learnt from last year, Make It Right learnt from last year's show, because last year we had 4 directors, myriads of actors, and it was a bit chaotic producing it. So this year, myself and Jamie Gaskin, who co-produces, said, right, we'll just pick one director, one assistant director, and that director will be the judge for the plays. So they're actually putting on plays that they believe in, and so that's what we did.
All right. So what you said, that Monstrous Minds, which is the overarching theme of the show, which you all spoke about. I know that there are 4 plays on.
Yes.
All right. Ransomware by Helen Jones, The Midnight Caller by Crusades. Did I get that correct?
Charles
So-
Eads. Poor Charles.
Oh my God, Charles, he's like, maybe can't even read my own handwriting. All right, Sleep of Reason, right, by Sean McCannon, and Killing Time by Steve Mack. All right, I would like a little teaser into each one of them, if you all just think about it for 1 second, while I
prepared something because I knew we get questions on
most definitely. But before you do that, just let me give a short, quick plug to a double billing of plays by Elaine Stewart. Alright, it'll also be at the Hope Street Theatre on the 2nd of June. Okay, the 2 plays are Agnes and Me, which is a Scouse comedy. Alright, and it's about a brother and a son who insists that he's in love with his guardian angel who only him can see. Okay, and there's the multi-award winning play Why, also by Elaine Stewart, All right, talks about men and their mental health. They are both directed by Darren Paddington. All right, so that's on the 2nd of June at Hope Street Theatre. You all can check that out on hopestreettheatre.com online for booking, and tickets are £10. All right, let me get back to Elaine. Tell me a little bit about ransomware.
Ransomware, it's, as you say, by Helen Jones, and
Okay.
it's a monologue which explores mental health. It looks at a woman talking about how a previous period of depression affected her, and how the various monsters in society, if you like, affected her mental health. So it's not necessarily if we're talking about Frankenstein or werewolves and things like that. We're looking more in general like human monsters, and how that affects people's mental health, really. Do you want me to go on about the other plays?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
The Midnight Caller.
Midnight Caller is about a girl called Fiona, and she works in a call centre late at night. She's on her own, and she starts getting mysterious phone calls from a child who seems to be in danger. But that explores anxiety, her own mental health, and loneliness, and the hidden monsters in society. So, as you can see, there's a little common theme in here. Then Killing Time tells the story of a convict on death row for his last 48 hours, and shows his relationship between the doctor that he talks to, and it also questions the morality of the death penalty as well.
Okay.
And then the other one is Sleep of Reason, and that's about an internet troll, a young teenager. And it looks at how social media has a possible negative effect in the hands of some people, in the wrong hands. So as you can see, this explores humanity in general, and whether human beings are actually the monsters.
It's quite topical, and it seems like a social commentary in those plays. What was the most challenging part of directing these plays? Or what was the most
so far,
challenging play out of all of them?
Probably the most challenging one is Midnight Caller, because she's on her own on the stage completely throughout it. So obviously I've got to make it look interesting and sound, because one person talking for half an hour can be quite boring. And the same with Ransomware as well, they're both one person on stage. So I've tried to kind of improvise a little bit and devise little bits around it so that the rest of the cast can come in it. So like I might have a chorus which explains her thoughts, rather than her just saying the lines. I've tried to make it as varied as possible and visually striking as well for an audience, because if it gets too wordy, people switch off like that.
So definitely the plays are going to be visually interesting, all right? Even if it's a monologue, it's not going to be boring. If it is, you can find Elaine Stewart on Facebook and let her know. That's
brilliant.
No, the quality of the writers that we've got are just absolutely fantastic. And one to watch is Sean McMahon. He's just in love with writing, and already he's got one on in Twisted Tales as well, which I think you might mention later. And he's, I just occasionally find these gems. I mean, Steve Mack is doing brilliantly. He's got a full play on just before Monstrous Minds, and Helen Jones has already had a full play on, and she's doing lots and lots of work. She had something on in Manchester this weekend. So they're writers that are on the up, and if you want to see them now before they get famous, and you have to pay £40 a ticket, then get in and come and see.
all right. That's great. Now I want to ask you all two more questions before we start to wrap up. So you all can think about it while I just plug Twisted Tales. I want you all to think about what do you want someone who's on the fence, should I go, should I not go? What do you want to tell that person to push them over the edge? All right? Have a think while I talk about Twisted Tales, which will be at the Hope Street Theatre Monday the 20th, all right, at 7:30. It's supposed to be 6 shows, and also shows that are new directors and new writers. And we will be covering it live on Condo Online, and you could look out for that as long as our review of the plays later in the week. So let me go to Elaine first. Tell me. I get a flyer for your play, and
Why you should come and see
why
it.
should I come?
You should come and see it because it's a very unique piece of theatre. All of the tales are interlinking. They're very current and relevant to today's society. And not only will you have an entertaining night at the theatre, it will be thought-provoking as well.
Fantastic. Thought-provoking theatre.
Yes.
Sharon?
If anybody's been watching the television and started watching Russell T Davies's years and years, it's along those lines. The things that they're talking about on years and years are the things that we're talking about in these plays. So it is really current. If a new series on the television is broaching similar subjects, then come out and see some live stuff. Don't sit with your feet up in front of the box. Come and see, be able to touch the actors and.
Here's what, right? I said that was the last question, but your answer prompted me to ask this other question. I don't like to be preached to. And a lot of the topics, because you kind of said it, I don't like to be preached to. So tell me about how you approach these very subjects, what you need to educate people about. How do you all really approach it as a group like together? How do you approach it? Being a sensitive, serious topic and still it not come across as a preachy kind of.
Well, I think the most important thing is to show the two sides to the argument. So if you've got an issue within that play, show two sides to it so that the audience are left with the option to choose what they believe in.
Okay.
Don't talk at them. Just invite them into what they see on stage rather than talking at them.
Yeah, and also I think it's incredibly important that we're getting our audiences to think critically rather than go home with that play told me this, but perhaps to go home and think, I'm going to look that up, and find out more about that.
Fantastic. That's very good actually. So social media, where can we find you all on social media?
You can find us on Facebook on Make It Right, and I think the Twitter account is Make It Right Live. And again on Instagram, I think that's where Make It Right Live as well. We're also Make It Right Productions if you want to see the events page.
Of course.
And the dates are, I've forgotten.
The 14th and the 15th of June.
15th of June. Yeah.
7:30.
You can plug your personal social media if you want also. If someone wants to get in contact with the director or.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can contact me on Facebook.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much for watching, listening, or reading. All right. Look out for these new plays on the 14th and 15th of June at Hope Street Theatre. All right. It's called Monstrous Minds, put on by Make It Right Productions. 4 new plays by 4 exciting writers, by a talented director, and also a very talented, hard-working producer. So, I'm Addae G, and I'm out.